Hello and welcome everybody. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different on this channel. So I have loved watching Drag Race content creators on YouTube make videos talking about, you know, if Drag Race was judged fairly, if they were the judge of Drag Race, about what stuff they would do. I love that kind of content. It's very fascinating to me. And since season 14 that just ended, I've decided that I'm going to make one of my own. Because why not? It's fun. So we are going to be going through the season of RuPaul's Drag Race, season 14, and acting as if I was the main judge of the show and I got to make the decisions upon how people placed and how the format of the show laid out. So rules to remember is the season is going to be as long as season 14 originally was, because that's another thing that I'd be able to change. So it has to be 16 episodes. The golden chocolate bar twist is going to stay. Spoilers, it's not going to necessarily stay for the same person, but I think it only makes sense to keep the golden chocolate bar twist in there because it was our part of the season originally. And the performances and the challenges are going to be ranked based off of how well someone did or how I would predict that they would do and how I think the general public would predict that they would do if someone, gets to a challenge that they didn't actually have to participate in on their season. And for my grading of stuff, it's obviously going to be a combination of how well they actually did on the season with that challenge or similar challenges, based off of, some things are just really personal bias when it comes to Drag Race. Like, obviously, like fashion is something that, people have different tastes in fashion. So, there's probably going to be some things in like the design challenges that you might disagree with me with, which is entirely okay. And, that's what makes us human. So the goal is to act as I've been the head judge and craft the season however I can imagine to make it as fun and eventful as possible for me specifically. And again, being fair with my judging of the season based off of my personal taste and what was shown to us on the show. So we're going to get started with episode 1. We are going to keep the split premiere because we really kind of need to keep the split premiere. Otherwise, we aren't going to have enough episodes. We're going to keep the groups the same because why would we try to change up the groups and try to do that? That doesn't make any sense to me. So for the first episode and the second episode, the format, I decided to change it so that it mimics more of the premieres on season 12 and the second and third episode of season 13, where we have a top 2 lip syncing for the win of the episode and, everyone else kind of being safe or high. So for this first episode, I definitely think the top 2 were Cornbread and Willow. I think pretty much everybody agrees on that. I put Bosco as high for this because I think she deserves to be high, and I think it just makes sense to have at least one person be high. And that leaves Alyssa Hunter, June Jambalaya, Carrie, Colby, and Orion Story as safe for the episode. And by the way, for the safe rankings, I should mention that in the safe rankings, that I just listed them in alphabetical order for simplicity's sake. So I do not think that June did better than Carrie did. It's just alphabetical. So in this episode, Cornbread and Willow would lip sync in the top 2 to Water Me by Lizzo, and I think Cornbread would destroy this. I mean, I wish we got to see Cornbread do this lip sync. It would be so fun. So Cornbread wins episode 1, and we're now moving on to episode 2. So for episode 2, obviously, again, we have the same groups. In my opinion, the top 2 performances of the episode were from Angeria and Lady Camden. And I think this is a good pairing for this top 2. Whereas, you might, Georges could potentially be in the top 2. I would see why you would want to put, Georges in the top 2. I understand. However, I do genuinely, at least in my opinion, I prefer Lady Camden's performance. And also we get that storyline presented to us early in the season of, Lady Camden and Angeria, getting close early on. So, again, yeah, Angeria and Lady Camden are the top 2. Georges is high. Everyone else is safe. We have the top 2 lip syncing to Fallen by Alicia Keys. And I think, honestly, either of them could win this one. I decided to give the win to Angeria. Because like we had seen them, well, actually, we haven't really seen Angeria do like a really soulful kind of lip sync. We really saw her mainly do dance lip syncs on the season. But I do think Angeria could do very well in this episode, and I think I'd probably just give the win to Angeria. I feel like it makes the most sense. So now moving on to episode 3, with all 14 of our contestants as done originally. Now this might look a bit weird, but let me explain my reasoning. In episode 3 of the season, we had 2 different balls. We had the red, white, and blue ball, and like the animal like print ball, split between the 2 premiere groups. And I think really, if you're gonna do 2 balls, you should have 2 winners of the balls, and you should have the worst people from each ball be the bottom 2. I mean, I think that makes sense if you're gonna do 2 separate things. So for the format of this, we have 2 winners, 2 high placements, 2 low placements, and the bottom 2. And then 6 people that place safe. Now the rankings of this first group are pretty similar to what originally happened and what people would think and what kind of like the public thinks about it. Willow Pill does win from that group. I do think she did the best. I liked her outfits the best overall. Alyssa Hunter was originally safe in episode 3, but myself and a lot of people think that Alyssa should have been high or potentially won this episode. I don't think she should have won, but I do think she should have been high. She did a great job this episode. And then we have Bosco, Carrie, and Orion safe. Orion was originally low in the episode, but I genuinely do not think she should have been low. I don't think she did that bad, honestly. I mean, I can understand the critiques for the looks, but I honestly think Cornbread did worse. I don't think Cornbread did bad by any means. If you were just doing a bottom 3, not a bottom 4, technically, Cornbread would not be in the bottom 3 for me. But I do think that Cornbread, for the purposes of there being the 7, Cornbread places low here. And then June Jambalaya is obviously in the bottom too, because her looks were just not great, sadly. And then for the second group, we have Dia Betty winning. When I was watching the episode premiere live, I genuinely thought Dia Betty was winning the episode. I really thought they were going to give her that storyline of being like eliminated first and coming back and winning the challenge right after she gets back. I thought that would have been very interesting. It obviously did not happen. But her looks are so great. Her looks are genuinely my favorite looks from the whole ball. So I would give the win to Dia Betty here. And then we have Angeria's high. She was in the top originally. I would not change that. She did a great job this episode. Then we have Deja, Jasmine, and Lady Camden all safe. We have George's low. Originally she did place high this episode. I really don't understand why she placed high. I didn't really like her looks that much. Especially her look that she made. I just not a fan of it. At all. I really did like it. It all felt too basic. Like, I understand the points of view she was coming from, and I enjoyed the references of it, but I think in comparison to just if literally looking at it as a piece of fabric, all of the looks in the ball, I think her looks tended to be worse than most of the others. And then obviously, originally, we have Maddie Morphosis in the bottom 2, going up against June Jambalaya, but she stays because, June Jambalaya decides to disrobe everything during the lip sync. So June Jambalaya is the first person out as originally. And now we are on episode 4. And episode 4 is going to be the Super Teasers Challenge. So I do have Angeria winning this challenge as she did originally. I think she did a great job in this challenge. I fully understand why she won originally, and I'm not going to take that away from her. In the top, we have Deja Sky and Willow Pill. I think Deja did a great job in this challenge. She really kind of was Angeria's kind of partner in crime within the whole challenge. And so it doesn't make sense why she wouldn't be in the top, in my opinion. She did great here. And then we have Willow Pill also in the top for the challenge because she again did an amazing job with this challenge. Then for safes, we have Bosco, Dia Betty, Jasmine Kennedy, Carrie Colby, Cornbread Jeté, Lady Camden, and Maddie Morphosis. We originally, Carrie was low, or no, so Carrie was in the bottom 2 for this challenge, and Cornbread was low. I really don't understand why. Like, I think Carrie did a good job in the challenge. Like, she had some, like moments where she just kind of didn't serve as much personality as others, but that really was far and few between. And overall, her content was funny. I mean, I gotta say, with Cornbread, like, like, I understand the not relying on food criticisms, but it's also like she was funny, so it doesn't matter as much. Like, you can just criticize her for that in the workroom next week. I don't know why you're doing this now. Now my bottom 3 is going to be Orion Story, Georges, and Alyssa Hunter. I put Orion Story as low, and a lot of people wanted Orion Story to be in the bottom for this challenge, or low. I think she should have been low. I think she was lacking energy at a lot of points. I do think there were points where she was genuinely funny, but I really think she was lacking in the energy department. And I did put Georges and Alyssa Hunter in the bottom 2 for this challenge, just because they plainly did the worst. And I wish they didn't do the worst, but looking at it empirically, like, I laughed the least of their content, and I felt like, as like physical acting, they just did not do that well. I do think Alyssa's it's like the sitting on the couch moment. I forget which part of it during this, but like her reaction to it, that part I find of hers is very funny, actually. But like that's really kind of it out of all of that. So we do have Georges and Alyssa in the bottom 2 for this episode, and I do think Georges destroys this lip sync. I think she would fucking murder it. So sadly, Alyssa Hunter still goes in second, or still the second person to go. Moving on to episode 5, the Save a Queen Challenge. So, as originally, we do have Bosco winning the challenge. I do think she deserved her win. She did a great job with her jokes. Her look was good. I loved it. We have Lady Camden High, as she was originally. I think she did a great job in this challenge. I did bump Angeria out of the high spot and replaced her with Maddie. I understand if you're upset at that decision, but I thought Maddie was really underappreciated in this challenge. I thought she could have easily been in the top for this challenge. Her performance was super good. Her runway was also pretty good, from what I remember correctly. It was the spring runway, right? Yeah, it was the spring runway. She did good on that. So I would have put Maddie in the top here to give Maddie that top moment. And put Angeria as safe, even though she did very well. That's what I would have done personally. Obviously we have Angeria, Daya, Deja, Carrie, and Willow placed as safe. We have Jasmine as low, as she was originally. I do think that made the most sense. I think like it makes sense to put her as low. Our bottom 2 is still going to be Orion Story and Georges. However, because the events of the season up to this point are still exactly the same, that means that Cornbread's ankle is going to be injured to the point where she has to leave the competition. And so I don't think it makes sense to eliminate 2 queens in 1 episode for this. So at the end of the lip sync, I would just say, hey, you're both safe. Somebody's already gone home this episode. Let the music play. So that's what I would do personally. It also just makes sense for filling out the episodes, because we kind of need this to fill out the episodes. And honestly, neither of them did terrible in the lip sync. Like, Georges destroyed it, as like we all saw, but Orion didn't do terribly. I mean, her wig really is she was really betrayed by that wig of hers, but I don't think her performance is warranted is terrible enough to be eliminated. Over, considering that somebody else is already eliminated in the same episode, and also we kind of have to have it to move on. So we're going to move on to the Glamazon Prime Design Challenge, and now this is the first episode where we have somebody present who was originally not in the episode with Orion's Story. Now, in the first design challenge, Orion's Story did place low originally, but I placed her as safe in the challenge because I thought she deserved to be safe. But really the main question is, Do I think Orion's story makes a better outfit than Maddie and Carrie? And the answer is yes. I do think she genuinely makes a better outfit than Orion, than not Jesus. I do think she genuinely makes a better outfit than Maddie and Carrie. And I also think she probably makes a better outfit than Jasmine. So I did place Orion's story as safe, though she could have placed low as well for this episode. I would not have placed her high. I don't think she would have done something to place high in this episode. In the top, we do have Lady Camden, Diabetes, and Willow Pill. I did take Georges out of the top. I don't think Georges did bad in the challenge at all. I think she did a pretty good job. She probably was out of the 10 here. I'd probably put her at like 5th. Actually, wait, there's 11 people here. I can't count. I would probably put her at 5th. I think her outfit was like pretty decent. I do not understand why she was in the top or won the challenge. So, as most people were calling for originally, Lady Camden is the winner of this challenge, and as Diabetes was hoping for originally, Diabetes is in the top for this challenge, along with Willow Pill, who's also originally not in the top for this challenge, but she was really kind of right outside of it. And I did kind of swap her in for Angeria because I liked both of their outfits, but I thought Willow's was, it was more conceptual. And with the materials used, I thought it worked better as like it fitted like the Glamazon Prime like thing. Angeria's outfit was also very good, and I, depending on the day, I might have put her in the top. But for the purposes of this, I decided, I think I like Willow's better. We're putting Willow at the top. So Angeria, Bosco, Deja, Georges, and Orion are safe. We have Jasmine placing low instead of in the bottom 2, because while her outfit was bad, God, Carrie Colby's was worse. And I don't understand why Carrie Colby was not in the bottom originally. She did not make a good outfit. And then obviously Maddie and Daddy Morphosis, it was sad. So we have Carrie and Maddie in the bottom 2. They're lip syncing to Sugar Mama by Beyonce. I think Carrie Colby destroys this lip sync. And Maddie Morphosis is going to sachet straight away. So we're going to move on to episode 7, which is the Daytona Wind Challenge. This episode, we still have Orion's story present. And instead of originally where there were 9 contestants in the challenge, we have 10. Now you might be wondering, like, hey, what fucking role are you making up to insert in this challenge so that it makes sense for 10 contestants? Well, based on the video that I saw, I believe the Drag Detective do, which I will link in the description of this video, they talk about how the timeline for the season is so confusing because there's so many there are multiple challenges that require certain numbers of people that it's like there are 2 challenges that require 9 contestants and 2 challenges that require 8 contestants, and how that's really weird. But I saw a lot of people in the comments of the video saying like that the part that T.S. Madison originally played in the Daytona Wind Challenge could have easily gone to another queen, and they most likely made it so that T.S. Madison did it. So because of, Cornbread and Orion going in the same episode, 2 episodes prior. So for the purposes of clarity and not trying to befuddle with like roles that I don't know people would do, we're gonna give Orion the wedding officiant role for this challenge, and I think that would land her straight in the bottom 2. I do not think she would do good in this challenge. Originally, this challenge had nobody go home in it. We are going to have somebody go home in this challenge. Our top 3 is actually the exact same as the week before, and was actually the exact same as in the actual episode. We have Lady Camden winning the challenge with Adaya and Willow as the sisters, the prostitute sisters. Were they sisters or just prostitutes? I don't remember. But they're going to place high. We have Angeria, Bosco, Jasmine, and Georges is safe. Originally, the technical bottom 3 for this challenge were Angeria, Carrie, and Deja, because they were the 3 that were not left on stage, that were sent to Untucked, while everyone else got positive critiques. Out of those 3, the person who I think did the best was Angeria, so I have Angeria as safe here. Then we have Carrie and Deja, fighting for the bottom 2 spot. I do think Deja did worse. Her accent was just worse. Carrie, I don't know, maybe she might have technically been less entertaining, but she gave off the vibe better. And I felt like the vibe and the essence of the Daytona Wind acting challenge was, more important for this. So I did put Deja in the bottom two with Orion. Lip syncing to one way or another, which I think would be honestly that it feels like you randomized two random queens to lip sync to a random song. Like it feels so odd, but I would love to see it, and I think Deja would do pretty good in it. And also Orion's just been in the bottom a lot this season so far, so Orion's story is going to go here at the Daytona Wind. The next episode is going to be the Girl Groups Challenge, the 60s girl groups. As we have all 9 of the same contestants here, they're all going to make the same groups. And as this is a girl group challenge, they're going to be judged in groups, and the winning group is all going to win. So the best group by far, basically everyone agrees, was the Shangri-Las. So Bosco, Daya, and Willow are going to win the episode. Now, the second and third favorite groups, I can understand differing opinions on this. I do think the Rupremes did better than the, what is the other group? I honestly don't, the Runettes. It's the Runettes. I do think the Rupremes did better than Runettes. I'm not a Supremes stan, so like obviously don't know any of the like little tiny inconsistencies that like RuPaul was probably thinking of when originally judging this challenge, and the producers were, but I think they just genuinely performed better. So Angeria, Carrie, and Lady Camden are all going to be safe for the challenge. Then we have a bottom three of Deja, Jasmine, and Georges. I do think Deja obviously did the best in her group. She actually sang hers the best, and she did the choreography the best, I would say. So Deja's going to place low for this challenge, which is kind of a crime against her, but I apologize for that. And we have a bottom two lip sync between Georges and Jasmine happening an episode before it actually did. And in this lip sync is going to be to the Soul Hex remix of Unbreak My Heart, which is just okay, fine. So they're going to do that lip sync. Originally, Jasmine did a great job of the lip sync, and also this would be Georges' third time in the bottom two, while it's only Jasmine's first. So Georges is going to go here in 9th place. Now we are going to move on to the Menzies challenge, the Menzies Drag Con Panels challenge. So for this challenge, we do have a difference in the groups because Carrie is still here for Georges. Carrie's just going to replace Georges in our group. The question mainly is, how do I think Carrie would do? I think Carrie would do pretty decent in this challenge. I don't think she would be in the bottom two, at the very least. I can understand an argument for literally any placement from win to low for Carrie, because this challenge is really kind of based off of like the conversational like humor that contestants have, and I think Carrie really has that in spades. Like she's so good at that. She is effortlessly funny, and the question is, does she try to make herself so effortfully funny that it doesn't feel effortless and it just feels forced? I don't know what that situation is like, but just based off of how funny she is just as a human, I put Carrie as safe for this challenge. I don't think she would do better than Deja, Angeria, or Bosco, who I have in the top. So I just think it's the fairest to put her safe, just based off of what we know she can do for this kind of challenge. So as originally, Bosco and Deja are still in the top. I did take Willow out of the top and put Angeria in. I think Angeria's content was super funny. I also really liked Willow's content, and this was kind of a situation as like earlier with the other challenge where I was kind of flip-flopping back and forth between Angeria and Willow and who should be in the top. So I did decide to put Angeria in the top over Willow in this challenge. Honestly, you could flip-flop those placements. You could put Willow in the top here, Angeria safe, and then do the switcheroo for the other one as well, to put Angeria in the top and Willow safe. It really doesn't matter to me. They're kind of similar arguments in my brain. But instead of Bosco winning, we have Deja winning. I think Deja really stood out in this challenge. I think she did a great job, and I think she really commanded her group well. and her group did super well, whereas Bosco kind of just, I think Bosco's performance was obviously elevated by the fact that she was in the like quote unquote weaker group, but I do think that Deja really did the moderator part of the job and just did it super well. So I gave Deja the win here. Our bottom three is going to be Lady Camden, Jasmine Kennedy, and Diabetti. As Georges is not here, and I think Carrie would do at least safe in this challenge, that does bump Lady Camden down to low. She didn't do bad, but she did in this universe do the third worst, so that does mean she is low. And the bottom two lip sync, fun, continuing the storyline of the hatred between Jasmine and Diabetti. And for the episode totals to work, and also just because it'd be such a gag for Jasmine to kind of defeat the bully, the quote unquote bully of Diabetti, and then Diabetti to get the golden chocolate bar and stay in the game, would just be such good TV. I would love to fucking see it. So Diabetti in this universe, picks the golden chocolate bar, and she is safe, and we move on to episode 10, which is the Snatch Game. This is going to play out the exact same as it did originally, because we kind of need it to reach our episode total. So, Deja Skye is going to win this challenge. Everyone else is going to be the bottom 7. I do not think Carrie would do super well in this challenge. I mean, it is kind of the same sort of improvisational kind of gist as the men's challenge, but obviously the people that did well in that challenge did not do well in this challenge, and I don't think she would do that well in this challenge. So we are going to go into the lip sync smackdown at episode 11, where Deja's obviously safe, and we replaced Georges with Carrie. Now for the round 1, round 2, and the bottom 2 technical of the episode, they're listed alphabetical, but I'm going to list them through in the way that they performed in the episode right now when I'm speaking. So we start off with the lip sync between Dia and Jasmine, and this is also kind of why I wanted to do the chocolate bar there, because we get another lip sync between Dia and Jasmine like 2 episodes later, and in this situation, Dia wins the lip sync over Jasmine, and of course we find out at the end of the episode that Jasmine goes home, which is just, oh my god, it would have been such good TV. But yeah, so Dia obviously still lip syncs against Jasmine because nothing of that would change. Dia wins. Second round, we still have Willow Pill and Bosco. Willow wins. Then we enter the third round with Angeria, Carrie, and Lady Camden. And the question is, who does the best to Radio by Beyonce? And also, technically in this universe, Carrie Colby does get to choose the song. I don't know what song she would choose. I genuinely have no clue. I decided to keep it as Radio just for the sake of simplicity. But if we want to talk about it, if she did choose Love Don't Cost a Thing, I do think Angeria still would have won. If she chooses Don't Let Go, that's a big iffy. I really don't know. I think Lady Camden might win it, or Angeria might win it. I don't know. I do think Angeria has a genuine chance, and I think, at least in my mind, is the front runner for 2 out of the 3 lip sync songs that could have been chose. So I decided to give the win to Angeria for this, which means that we enter the second round. We still have the Don't Let Go lip sync between Lady Camden and Bosco, which Lady Camden wins. And then we get Love Don't Cost a Thing between Carrie and Jasmine. And I put Carrie as winning the lip sync because I do think she genuinely could win the lip sync, and also for the storyline purposes of Jasmine going in the bottom 2 and losing to Bosco to Swept Away. Honestly, if you decided to put Jasmine as the winner of that lip sync and Carrie in the bottom 2, Carrie would probably go. And spoiler alert, Jasmine would go in the exact same placement that Carrie ends up going. So it doesn't really matter. But for storyline purposes, I decided to put Jasmine as losing to Carrie and obviously losing to Bosco in the bottom 2. So now we're going to be moving on to Moulin Rouge. Start your engines. So We still have Carrie Colby around. The question is, how well does she do in this challenge? The answer is, I don't think that well. I think she's probably in the bottom two. As our winner, we still have Lady Camden. She did a great job in this challenge. As our two high placements, we still have Diabetti and Willow Pill. I do think they did a great job in this challenge. Angeria is going to place safe. Deja Sky is going to place low. She did not do a bad job in this challenge, but for the way that I like to do final sevens, which is a win, two highs, a safe, a low, and the bottom two, she kind of has to place low here, so that's unfortunate for her. Then we get the bottom two of Bosco and Carrie. They have to lip sync to Heartbreak Hotel by Whitney Houston. I believe it's like the Hex Hector remix or something. And I do think actually Bosco did a genuinely good job in this lip sync originally. I do think Georges won, but I think Bosco did a great job actually. So I would put Bosco as winning the lip sync, and also Bosco has like actually won multiple challenges, and Carrie's has not placed above high so far in the season. So I would personally give this one to Bosco, and Carrie Colby would go here in 7th place. Now we get to the roast. So what I like to do for final sixes is put someone as a winner, someone as high, two safes, and then a bottom two, and then, you know, someone obviously gets eliminated. Because then you have two people who did like above average, then you have two people who did below average, and then two that were average. I think it makes the most sense. I don't understand why people like you would do like a win and then three highs and the bottom two. That doesn't make sense to me personally, but that's just my kind of way of grading stuff and looking at it. As originally, Bosco is going to win the challenge. He does a great job in this challenge. You know, Ross is not a top piece of blouse. It's very funny. So Bosco is still going to win the challenge, and Lady Camden is still going to be in the top because she deserves it. She did a great job. Speaking of great jobs, Injuria and Willow do a great job in this challenge. They do, I think, worse than Bosco and Lady Camden, but they're still safe because they did a great job in the challenge. And then we have a bottom two of Diabetti and Deja Sky lip syncing to Good For You by Olivia Rodrigo. And I do think Diabetti obviously still wins the lip sync against Deja, as she did originally. So Deja goes here in 6th, and we get to the final 5 catwalk performances. I put Diabetti winning this challenge. For me, she did the best. I know for a good amount of people out there, she did the best. I do think Lady Camden did well, but I think I personally prefer Dia's lyrics better over Lady Camden's. I also preferred her outfit over Lady Camden's. And obviously that's just like a personal taste, like style thing, but I really do prefer it. And also her runway was so good. So I have to put Diabetti as winning this final episode. We still have Lady Camden as high. Bosco is going to play safe as she originally did. And then Angeria and Willow are going to be in the bottom two, but they're both going to be safe because we have to have a final 5. We don't have to have a final 5, but I'm still going to keep the final 5 because that's what we had originally, and we don't know what necessarily would happen if we had a top 4 for this finale. Though once we get to the finale slide, I will go over what I think would happen had we had a top 4 and we did a standard, lip sync SmackDown for the finale, crown, whatever. So we get to the finale, and the finale was it was such a good finale, I gotta say. It was really fun, it was super entertaining. Based off of their performances, I do think Lady Camden and Willow Pill did deserve to be in the top 2. And I think based off of the track records and the final performances, I personally would have given Lady Camden the crown. She overall does better than Willow Pill in the season in this scenario, and as she actually, I think, did originally in the season. And she also I could be fully wrong about that. And she also does a genuinely good job in the finale. I think they both had positives to them. I do think, obviously, Willow Pill's reveal worked better. Camden's was a bit tired, but overall, I do think Camden performed to gimme better than Willow did in terms of, like dancerly, expressions and stuff. So personally, I would give the win to Lady Camden, but I fully understand giving the win to Willow Pill here. And then in this scenario, again, Bosco, Diabetti, and Angeria all tie for, like third, fourth, fifth. But based off of the track records of this season, Bosco would technically place third, Dia fourth, and Angeria fifth. Now, if you want to go into Lip Sync SmackDown for the crown, in that final lip sync between Angeria and Willow, I personally think Willow did better in the lip sync. I don't think either of them did that well, but I do think Willow did better. So I would personally get rid of Angeria, and we would go into the top 4 with Lady Camden, Willow Pill, Bosco, and Diabetti. Now, I do think that if Lady Camden and Willow Pill are not paired together in the semifinal lip syncs, I do think they probably make the top 2 with each other, and Lady Camden wins. Still, in my opinion, I do think that still probably happens. However, if Lady Camden and Willow Pill go against each other in the first round, I do think Lady Camden probably wins, just on average based on the lip sync performances that we've seen from them. And then between Bosco and Diabetti, we have Diabetti getting to the final 2 against Lady Camden, where Lady Camden would still win the season. So overall, Lady Camden still wins, at least in my opinion, she does. On this final slide, we have the track records for the season. I did use the PP point system to kind of grade these track records. Thank you, Uki. Is that how you pronounce your name? I don't know. Aki, whatever. You with the dot. And so these will be the track records of the season based off of what I've said so far. And yeah, so based off of these track records, Lady Camden did the best, Willow Pill second, Bosco third, Diabetti fourth, and Angeria fifth. But yeah, that is going to be it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching this. If you do, I had a lot of fun making this, and I hope you had fun watching it. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care.